16 tips to save more money.
Tip number 1. Check your electricity and gas contracts. If you're not doing this once a year, you're probably paying way too much money for it. Often you can save up several $100s a year just by changing your contracts to a cheaper electricity and gas supplier. But be aware that those cheap prices they offer oftentimes only apply to the first year of service. That's why you should carefully read the terms and conditions and set a marker in your calendar when it's time for a change of contracts again. Tip number 2. Did you know that you need up to 10% more fuel if your tire pressure is too low? Make sure to check it every now and then. You should also clean your air filter on a regular basis and save up to 5% fuel consumption doing so. It's easy and everyone can do it. Just ask Google. Tip number 3. Make yourself a second savings account with an automated bank transfer at the beginning of each month. Yes, at the beginning. Calculate a realistic sum that you can put aside at the beginning of each month instead of just putting aside the money that's left over at the end. Do not touch the money on this account, unless you're using it to invest. Tip number 4. Check out if there are cheaper supermarkets in your area than the one you're usually going to. Make a list with 30 products you buy on a regular basis and compare the prices in the markets that are accessible for you. Tip number 5. Avoid impulsive buying. Classify your spending into 2 categories: necessary spending and luxury spending. Unnecessary spending includes your rent, insurances, taxes, transportation and food. In general, unnecessary spending is a spending you cannot avoid. Everything that doesn't belong to the necessary category belongs to the luxury one. While you can and should adjust some of the necessary costs, like riding a bike instead of taking the car, usually most money can be saved by avoiding impulsive luxury costs. And there's a simple trick to it. Next time you want to buy a new TV, a new phone, or that shiny golden earring that will look so good on you, make sure to give yourself enough time to think about it. Set yourself a date 30 days into the future, where you will make the final decision whether you want to go on with the spending or not. If you're still convinced it's something you want to spend your money on, well, okay, then do it. At least it's something you really want and it's not an impulsive decision anymore. And if it's just a small spending while you're walking through a store but still nothing necessary, well, give yourself at least 10 minutes to think about it. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 is again a mind trick to improve your buying behavior. If you're about to make a luxury spending, think about how many hours you need to work to make the same amount of money. Don't forget to consider the taxes too. Often the spending you're about to do might appear in a different light now. Do you really want to work 8 hours just so your new hoodie is from a trendy brand? Aren't there any cheaper options with the same quality that still look good on you? Tip number 7. Always remind yourself why you should try to save up money. To achieve a status of financial independency, you need quite a lot of money, and usually just going after your day job alone doesn't do the trick, unless you're a high-paid manager, I guess. The way our economic system works is that you ultimately want money working for you. The more money you have working, the more money you will make. But to get to the point where you have enough money on the bank to turn the wheels, you need to be able to control your financial flow. If you aren't able to keep your hard-earned money in your pockets, you'll never get into the position where the money can make more money for you. The first step to reach financial independency always has to be learning how to save costs and to lay aside some money at the beginning of each month. Tip number 8. You want to buy a new computer or a new laptop because your old one became so incredibly slow? Oftentimes you can still upgrade it and buy a new SSD or some RAM for it. Add a fresh installation of your operating system and suddenly there's no need for a new one anymore. It might sound scary to you, but it's actually quite easy and you find a lot of information on the internet. Or maybe ask a friend who knows about those things. Tip number 9. Make sure to buy long-life food products like rice, noodles, canned food and frozen goods only when they're on offer, and just buy some more of it. Tip number 10. Make your own soft drinks. Take some black tea, put some lime juice and sugar in it, let it cool down and put it in the fridge. There's your iced tea, without any chemicals and $1 saved every time. This is just an example, of course. Get creative and have a look what's possible. Tip number 11. Keep book over your expenses. Keeping track for what you're using your money and how much you're spending on specific items helps you to cut down unnecessary expenses. Increase the awareness for your money. There are also a lot of apps to do this. Tip number 12. If you're a guy and you have short hair, why go to a hairdresser? Just buy an electric hair clipper and maybe ask a friend for help.
It's easier than you think.
Tip number 13. If you're going grocery shopping, write yourself a shopping list. Plan ahead what you want to cook and eat the following week and avoid throwing away rotten food. You're not only saving money, but you're also doing a nice thing for the environment. Tip number 14. Only use your washing machine when you have enough dirty clothes to make it full. Otherwise, it's just a huge waste of money. The same goes for your dishwasher as well. Oh, and back to your dirty clothes. A single use of a dryer costs around $1 in energy costs. So stop being lazy and just hang dry your clothes. Tip number 15. Are you having one of those fuel-hungry huge cars that look cool and are fun to drive? Do you really need it? Maybe you should consider swapping it to a more economical one. Calculate how much miles you make a year and how much money you would save. There's so much money in it. Tip number 16. Going on holidays? How about trying Airbnb instead of staying in expensive hotels? Most of the time you save money and the location is even nicer. By the way, this is no advertisement, it's just how I see it.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button, comment your tips to save money, and most important, share it with your friends. Thank you.